Hello everybody, and thanks for tuning back into my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I made a waterfall seascape. I should have started the video before now, but I didn't think about making one until I had actually reached this point. So anyway, I took a clear solo cup and I cut it to make this part of the waterfall, and also it helps to support it. And of course it's hot glued into place. Alright, next I got some pebbles and pink stones and just place them in and see how it's going to look and try to get some ideas for what I want to do. Just play with them a little bit like this. Alright, now it's time for some lights. So once again I used a hot glue gun. These are just wine bottle lights. I cut the strand in half, so I think there's 12, 13 lights. I glued the switch on the bottom of the driftwood. I make sure the lights work, and they do. Now on to the next step. Let's mix the resin. Once again I use a 1-to-1 ratio mixture. Make sure you stir it well. I also like to heat it a little bit before I use it, and to give it the watercolor I use some nail polish. Here I only use 2 drops of nail polish. But I found out later that I should have made it a little darker, so probably 3 or 4 drops would work better. Alright, let's pour the pebbles back in. Now what I don't want to do is put so many pebbles in that I cover the lights up, so let's move some around. Create somewhat of an opening around the lights. I will finally go ahead and start pouring some resin. I mentioned earlier that the coloring wasn't very dark, but at this point with blue pebbles I don't really need it to be that dark. And I could have actually left it clear. Once again, I'm moving some of the pebbles around to expose more lights. Now I'll put the bigger stones back into place. And pour some more resin. And I'm always checking the placement of my lights and stones to make sure the lights aren't really obscured. Now let's start pouring in the top and start working on the waterfall a little bit. Now, when I first started the project, I was wondering how I would get a waterfall, and I was thinking maybe if I let the epoxy start to harden a little bit, start to get a little thick, I could pour it and it would slowly run over and sort of drip. That's not going to work. I've found out that's just not going to work. So that's why I came up with the idea of the solo cup that I used. It not only supports it, but it also gives something for the resin to stick to adhere to. For some reason, I always like to add glitter when I'm working with water, or a water scene, that is. A word of caution too, working with glitter can be a little dangerous because it's gotten into my eyes more than once. Here's a shark's tooth, an actual shark's tooth that I'm going to put in as well, just to give that added effect. It should sink on down into the epoxy. And a seashell. So after the seashell, I decided to add some more items. Hey, why not a bush up top? Maybe some stones. Now, my mistake here was I should have waited till the resin thickened up just a little bit. Because when you put something this lightweight in it, it tends to float around. So I'll coat it to help it stay in place, hopefully. Plus it'll give it that glossy look, and it'll protect it in the long run also. Lichens are very brittle as it is. Then I'll just keep adding epoxy. Now what I'm doing here is coating the rocks to give them that glossy look, and of course to help hold them into place. And I'm going to plant this little artificial tree, I guess. Again, I should have waited till the epoxy had thickened up a little bit more. And at this point it's coming along pretty nicely. Now one trick I did at the bottom, at the base of the waterfall, to make the water sort of seem like it's splashing up, what I done was I took a little bit of cotton and pulled it apart and put it in the epoxy, this time as it was hardening, or thickening rather. And then I poured just a little more on top of that. And I also added some white sand at the bottom, and I sprinkled it throughout the waterfall. That tends to give it the appearance of the water actually flowing downwards, which I thought that was a nice addition. And there you have it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below if you like.